Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to join in on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays on my live stream, or outside the live stream, you can consider joining the Discord that I created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also, if you are interested in getting some ideas of the meals that we enjoy, we have a link to a Pinterest board that we created that has some of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals. Today is day 612 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 210 pounds in the past 20 months. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I'd love to hear those as well. I'd love to know how you guys are doing on your diets. And if you're waiting to get started, what's keeping you from getting started? What are those hangups that are getting in your way? And what steps are you going to take to make getting started and staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead, switch over to the main page here. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It was a long weekend here. We had Monday off, and so I have not been live since last Friday, and today is Tuesday. Lots of family events, lots of celebration stuff going on this weekend, but survived it, and I think I'll make it. So Carrie's checking in saying hello Carrie. I hope everything's going great at home today. I guess I can kind of go over food throughout the whole weekend. So food was a little bit interesting this weekend. We've been changing up our diet some this past week. Carrie says it was a long weekend. Yes, it was a long weekend with kids, trying to entertain them and have sleepovers and all kinds of fun stuff throughout the weekend. So it was a very long weekend. But with food this weekend, it also felt like a very long weekend with food, just trying to find enough food, I guess, or satisfying food overall. So like I started to say, we changed up our diet a bit, and we are kind of getting away from some of the processed stuff like the nut butter that we had been eating. Really, since I started this diet, I have been having peanut butter in some format or in some way pretty much every week, or usually every day. And so we decided to get rid of that. We also have not been having the sourdough bread. I'm not sure if Carrie got rid of the starter or not, but she hasn't been making any sourdough. We kind of found that it wasn't helping us to have the sourdough. And Carrie actually just checked in and says she threw away her sourdough starter. Overall, it was nice having the access to the bread, but I don't think that having that sourdough was doing us any favors in the weight loss area, or as far as weight loss goes. So we got rid of that. And so overall, the diet has changed up a bit. In the past, if I ever wanted a snack, it was just go grab some Ezekiel bread and throw some nut butter on it, and that was a snack. For a while here, the sourdough has also been a go-to. Cut a couple pieces of sourdough, throw some mustard spread on top of that, and that would be a quick, easy snack. Susanna 2202 says, I can't have sourdough in the house. Yes, I think we're finding that it's just better for us to not have it in the house either. Because I know had we had a loaf or two of sourdough sitting around this weekend, I would have eaten every bit of it because, like I said, food was just a little bit different. I'm still trying to get my groove with the new diet or the new kind of overall the what we're focusing on, eating more starches and less of the nuts there, and less flour and things like that. But I am going to go through and show off some of the food that we had throughout the weekend. On Friday, Susanna says that if you had a loaf or two of sourdough around the house, you would eat a loaf or two of sourdough. Yes, and I'm finding that to be the same way with me. It's something that we never even had sourdough bread before 6 months ago, and it slowly became a staple in our house, or we always had something going with it. So let me see if I can get this up, and it looks like it works. So Friday night for dinner, Carrie made up these chips here. It was just corn, maize, and water, and that's about it. I don't know if there's anything else of the chips. They were just pretty plain chips, but the pico that she made was really good, and also the refried beans were very good. Had a couple plates of that, I guess, for dinner. I'm going to be going through a bunch of photos here. I'm not sure what I took photos of. I feel like I took a decent number of photos throughout the weekend of the food that I ate, but it's going to be a little bit spotty here. So that was chips there. That was just an example of the scoop there with the refried beans, the pico, and the chips. Carrie says that it was masa flour and water. She made a dough and then air fried it. So that's what those were made out of. And so that was Friday night. And then a little bit later, also on Friday, I made up a bowl of, I believe this is mashed potatoes. Yeah, this is mashed potatoes with broccoli. And then Carrie had gotten this Neapolitan balsamic vinegar that she bought from a company that I put a little bit that on top of it as well, for flavor on that. And so that was most of what I ate Friday afternoon or Friday evening. And then Saturday morning, just our regular oatmeal, a couple pictures of that. Nothing too special with it, just onions, spinach, mushrooms, some steel cut oats, oat groats, things like that. And then corn, lots of corn this weekend. Overall, I found lots of opportunities or excuses to eat corn. And let me see what else I got photos of here. So this was Saturday midday, and then Saturday evening, we had one of my favorite meals. Carrie kind of gave me a hard time because I didn't have the potato on the plate with the first photo. So there you go. This is one of my new favorite things that we've been having is this meatloaf. It's called, I believe it's called Linda's Meatloaf, and it's from the Engine 2 cookbook. I believe Carrie has this recipe shared down below in the Pinterest if you guys are looking for that recipe. But I really like this Linda's Meatloaf, one of, like I said, our favorite meals. And that was just one of the servings of it that I made. I don't think I took a photo of, no, I didn't take a photo of it. But yeah, I had quite a bit more than just this for dinner on Saturday. Rick says that you use e-loaf, which is fantastic. I'm not sure if I've heard of e-loaf. I'll have to look that up. But this was a great dinner for us on Saturday there. Okay. So Rich says that the e-loaf he had is fantastic. And he served it to his guests and they loved it. And the e-loaf is an Esselstyn recipe. Susan says that loaf looks good. You got to try that. Yeah, I really like this loaf here. Jane and Ann Esselstyn recipe, the e-loaf. Okay. Ron says that they tried the Linda's meatloaf. A few weeks later, tried a quinoa loaf from the How Not to Die cookbook. Linda's was the family favorite. So you tried the Linda's meatloaf, and then you also tried a quinoa loaf from the How Not to Die cookbook, and the Linda's meatloaf was the winner of the two. That's great. And I'll have to see if the Linda's meatloaf is different much, or how much different it is than the Jane and Ann Esselstyn's e-loaf. We'll have to check that out as well. So, big fan of that dinner Saturday night. And then I don't know if this was Sunday. This was Sunday for breakfast. Carrie had been giving me a hard time because she really likes the shredded wheat with pineapple. And I usually just make the shredded wheat with raisins. So Saturday morning, I had the shredded wheat with the pineapple. It was very good. I liked it probably just as much as the raisins. I don't know that I like one over the other. The raisins seems to be really easy because I can just grab the raisins out of the jar. Whereas with the pineapples, I got to open a can up and have a half a can or eat the full can of pineapple, which probably would not be a bad thing. But I did enjoy the shredded wheat with pineapple. Pretty Girl's mom's checking in saying, hey, running a little late, no worries. Just kind of going over some of the food that I ate throughout the long weekend here. So I just took a photo of a banana because why not? It's a little slow there. Take a photo of a banana. The bananas we had were not very ripe. And so was hoping to get, that they would ripen a little faster. But I did have a couple bananas throughout the weekend here. Then this was Sunday morning for breakfast, I guess. And then this is also Sunday morning, oatmeal again. I know it seems like it would be really boring, but we really have the same oatmeal every morning and it doesn't get boring. It seems to be satisfying, and we get our variety, I guess, throughout the rest of the day. But overall, really don't mind having the same oatmeal every morning, even though it does sound like it would be repetitive. And then that was just the same. It just mixed together. Not a very wonderful photo. I don't know what the next photo is of, so let me just see. I guess I can go back to that and talk about that a little bit. But so this is more corn. I had lots of corn this weekend. So this is just a another photo of more corn. And actually I took a photo of the corn unwrapped. Shy saying, hey Shy, hope you had a great weekend. And one more photo of the same 3 ears of corn. So I took a bunch of photos of the corn that I had Sunday midday kind of lunch. And then this was a little bit later. This is mashed potatoes, and we have some of our sour cream sauce mixed into the mashed potatoes. So this was Sunday midday. Grab some food, and then Sunday night we had a dinner that I've been liking this dinner more and more. And this is even a little bit fancier. So this has mushrooms in it, but it's potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, and then this is actually a better view of everything here. So Carrie ended up kind of baking up 2 different trays of food, where we made the root vegetables in the Instapot, the carrot, the sweet potatoes, and the I think they're golden potatoes, all cooked those in the Instapot, and then took a bunch of red peppers and onions and zucchini and cut those up, and then put that in the stove or the oven to cook those up for a while, and then kind of take them all and mix them back together. Carrie's given the sour cream recipe from the potatoes that I showed here. And the recipe for that sour cream is just sunflower seeds, plant milk, garlic powder, and onion powder. So it's a real simple 4-ingredient recipe, and you can just kind of put the seasonings in to kind of get it to whatever taste that you prefer. So back to dinner on Sunday evening. We ended up going and watching fireworks on Sunday evening here. There is a local display they kind of do over the Mississippi River that we went to. So we ate quite a bit, just because I knew we were going to be out late and we were going to be busy with that, and we were going to be around a little bit of food, but for the most part, everything was fine. And the snacks that we did have at the firework display, there was a fruit tray that had a variety of pineapple and melons and some other things. There was also a tray with apples in it, and I think that the fruit tray was actually a fruit and vegetable tray. I feel like there was carrots and some other things. So we had some snacks on Sunday evening. Really, I just ate a bunch of slices of apples Sunday evening after we had this for dinner. But I was starting to say, I really like this combination here of just a couple, a bunch of different vegetables, and then the mushrooms she had marinated and kind of gave them kind of I think we use a liquid aminos for a lot of the seasoning in the mushrooms there. Then we're going to skip to yesterday, Monday morning's breakfast. Surprise, surprise. It was oatmeal with spinach and mushrooms and onions. So that was yesterday's breakfast. Carrie had made up some waffles for the kids, and this was kind of the last one that was left, and I ended up just eating it as is. I didn't put any syrup on it or any fruit or anything, just had a sad, lonely little waffle, but it was really good. And I think I have one more food photo. Yesterday for dinner, we had Spanish rice was for dinner. Shai says that savory oatmeal for the win. Yes, savory oatmeal has been a winner for us for sure. This was Spanish rice. Carrie forgot to put the beans in it. Didn't really even realize that she forgot to put the beans in it, I think, until really late last night or early this morning when she saw how many leftover beans she had and realized that she had forgotten to put it in that dinner that we had last night. So that is really all the photos of the food that we had from this weekend. And it was an interesting food weekend. I really felt like I was more hungry throughout the weekend than I had in the past, but also was in a position where I had less food readily available. Like, it just took a little bit more effort to get my meals together or the snacks together than it usually does. And we drink a soy milk that we get from Walmart called West Soy Milk. And that's usually what I put in with the shredded wheat. And we were kind of running low on that, and I didn't want to use all of that for shredded wheat. So was kind of trying to go and find different things to eat. And like I said, just overall, it felt a little bit more difficult this weekend because I didn't have some of the go-to snacks that I normally have. Christy M says, yay, you made it. That's awesome. Thanks for checking out today's stream. And my go-to snacks, it was shredded wheat. I did have a few bowls of shredded wheat through the weekend, but it was really like ears of corn was a go-to snack for me. The baked potatoes was another thing. And then the fruit that I ended up going shopping yesterday afternoon just because I was a little frustrated we didn't have more fruit or snacks in the house. And I was getting hungry. And so I ended up going grocery shopping and picked up some snacks like oranges and some more corn and a few other things. Carrie says that we took away those crutches. Yes, we took away the crutches of kind of some of the regular foods. So it was a little bit of a different weekend. It's really frustrating because I thought for sure I would come in and get on the scale today, and there would be no way that I would have been up over the weekend because I felt like I did a great job with food, and then I get on the scale and I'm way up over the weekend. So I have weigh-in tomorrow, and I'm not looking forward to it as of right now. There's a lot of things that can change between now and tomorrow with these scales. They seem to go up and down more than I would expect them to. I do feel like the swelling that I had in my leg all last week has really gone down. It's in a much better spot, if not in as good a spot as it was before we went on that trip the weekend before last. So I feel like some of that water retention is gone, and which is even more frustrating that the weight is still there and the water seems to be gone. But I just feel like I have a bit of a backup of fiber in my body. Like, I just don't feel like as much food is coming out as I'm putting in, and that is giving me a negative result on the scale. Shai says that over the weekend you had sauteed butternut squash, mushrooms, and bell peppers. That sounds really good. Kind of similar to that the root vegetables that we had there with the peppers and onions and things like that. So that sounds really good. But overall, Rich says that you're doing the McDougall potato diet. You only eat potatoes and green veggies. You've lost nearly 50 pounds since February. You just love potatoes. That is awesome that you've had that kind of success here in the last 5 months. So that's really good. And that's kind of what we're getting to. You know, it's not as simple as just potatoes and veggies, but it is a predominantly starch-based diet. And then we're adding in some other things. The fruit is something that I would have a hard time giving up the fruit that I have left, as far as like the oranges and the bananas and apples. So Rich says he went from 258 to 212 pounds. That is awesome. You got to feel amazing after losing 50 pounds with a starting weight of 250. That is really awesome. That's what, 20% of your body weight nearly that you got rid of. So that's amazing. That's really awesome. I hope that and you're 72 years old. That's awesome that you are making these changes and you're seeing success with it. That's really awesome. I know a couple 70-year-olds that I would love to have this way of eating rub off on them. So that's awesome. I'm glad that you're having that success. That's really cool. And it helps keep kind of, those successes, or people having those successes, really help kind of keep the motivation up for me, because when I got on the scale this morning and I was up over the weekend, I was really frustrated because it just seems like I want to see these results right now. I want to see them today. I want to see them yesterday. I don't want to see them tomorrow. So to be eating on plan and what I felt was 100% correct over the weekend, and then to go up, it's all part of the whole process here, but it is still been, I wish things were just immediate, and that's how we all are. And that's why our diets always fail. That's why I challenged myself to do this for 3 years, because I knew how impatient I get and how I want those results today. I want those results right now. I don't want to wait a month or 2 months. And that impatience has kept me from sticking to any diet for a serious amount of time. And so that's why when I went into this, I had no idea what diet I would be eating or how I would be structuring things, but I knew I needed to make it a priority for 3 years. And that has been really awesome for me throughout this whole process, has been just the longevity, and knowing that it's not about what today's weigh-in says or tomorrow's weigh-in says, but it's about what happens over the course of 3 years. Because it's easy to look at the last week and be disappointed, or the last couple weeks, and think, oh, I'm about the same. But if I look over the last 6 months, then there's been some movement, and so it's about a much larger or longer time span than just a couple weeks. You find you do best. Jane says she finds she does best when they keep eating simple. Yeah. And that's really what I have been hearing too, or seeing, is that, just making it simple and sticking to a routine. And that's really when I've had my most success, is with that kind of, with a routine there. Christine says it's super frustrating, or Christy says it's super frustrating when the scale lags behind your efforts. Yes, it is. And it doesn't seem to lag behind in the opposite direction. As far as when it wants to go up, it'll go up right away. It has no problem, the scale, it's going up in weight, but it's when you want it to go down, you really have to give it time for things to start working in the proper way. And like you were saying, Jane, about eating it simple, I really need to focus on, making that more of being more okay with eating simple, I guess, would be more of a, because the way I eat right now it's been great for me taste-wise. I've had great food. I've really enjoyed a lot of what I've eaten, but it has been keeping me at this point. And if I go back, and I should go back and look at my videos from 3 months to 6 months through this process, and look at what I was eating then, and just kind of go back to some of that. Because there was, I was eating really simply, And we didn't have all of these great recipes like we have now, like the Linda's meatloaf and the rosemary and bake recipes. And there's a few other ones that I can eat a ton of those recipes because they taste so good. But when I was having my most success, it was eating simple, eating, single ingredient meals. I would just go and grab a can of corn and heat up a can of corn, or I would grab a can of pineapple and eat a can of pineapple at a time. And it wasn't quite as complex. I'd like to find that happy medium where I can have some enjoyment in my food, but also see weight loss. But it is a tricky line to hold, and I talked about that a lot last week. Just the difference between gaining 100 calorie, gaining a little bit of weight and losing a little bit of weight can be the difference between eating something that's 200 calories, and just, but again, a big part of this is finding a satisfactory diet, because I know that I could decide to fast for the next week and lose weight, or drop down to 1,000-calorie diet and lose weight. But the result of doing a fast or 1,000-calorie diet is that on the other end of it, my body's going to try to make up for it. I'm going to overeat. My body might not process the food as fast as it would if I hadn't have fasted or been eating fewer calories leading up to it. And this is much more about finding a proper diet for the rest of my life versus finding the diet that is going to get weight off me as fast as possible. And so I'm trying to find a way to eat the diet that I'm going to eat the rest of my life and lose some weight in the process. Rick says, how many calories do I eat in a day? I have no idea. I just eat lots of vegetables and don't really keep track of it. Some of the things that I've talked about with calorie counting, if you can put together a good system for calorie counting and it works for you, I think that it is great. But for me, I kind of a numbers guy. And if I got into calorie counting, I think that I would be hard on myself. I would try to eat like 1,200 to 1,500 calories, or I would try to make some sort of game of it. But I think that one of the things that eating a whole food plant-based diet does is it really screws up that calories in, calories out equation when you're trying to work on that kind of system. Because if I were to take 250 calories of corn and that's in its kernel still and eat that 250 calories, my body will absorb a different number of calories compared to if I drank 250 calories of high fructose corn syrup or corn oil. Because there's the fiber still as part of a lot of the food and there's skin on the food, it really changes that calories in, calories out. It's more of a calories absorbed, like what you're actually able to absorb versus what you expend. So I feel like eating a whole food plant-based diet, if I keep my calorie density below the 600 calories a pound or try to figure that, then it would be hard to eat a volume of food that would put me in an excess. And many times, even if it was an excess on paper, that excess would get kind of removed because of the difficulty it is for our body to pull energy from some of those foods or absorb the energy from those foods. How often do I weigh myself? I weigh myself every day that I work because I have a scale here at work. And so it's Monday through Friday. I hop on the scale. With the scale, that's another thing that if you cannot remove the emotion from the scale, then having the scale around probably isn't the best thing for you because it's going to screw with you emotionally. But for me, I try to just look at the scale as a tool the best I can. And I feel like if my goal is to lose weight, then the more information that I have, the better it's going to be. And so I weighed in on Friday. I don't know what exactly I was Friday. I was probably right around what I was at my last week's weigh-in. And I didn't weigh it again until today. So there was a 3-4 day period where I didn't weigh myself. But now that I have weighed myself, I know that, maybe I need to make different choices than I was going to make. It just kind of, just having that knowledge kind of helps, but again, I don't let it get me too frustrated or let it really overall affect me because it is, again, it's about the long trending averages of things. It's not about what today's scale says. So, let's see. It says not a good idea for you. If you gain a pound, you beat yourself up big time. Yeah. And that's tough. And that's kind of the power that we give the scale. And, again, it's, there's that lag period, if you eat something that's crap, the scale is going to show it right away. But if you eat healthy for a week, it's going to take a long time for it to go the direction you want it to go. Gene says that plateaus can last a while. Reaffirm your diet meal plans. Smoothies make the calories denser packed, more calories in by processing it. Celery is a natural diuretic. Be patient with yourself. Thank you. Yeah, I know plateaus can last a while. That's for sure because felt like I've been at this plateau for a long time, but I have gone up and down. And for me, this plateau is really a victory in a way because my weight's not really going up. Like there would be no period of time where my weight wasn't either gradually going up every single day or drastically dropping because I've been on some sort of diet. So for me to maintain a weight for any amount of time is actually a little bit of a success. But I've also, am using this as an opportunity to learn what works best for my biology and what, it's I have no doubt that if I continue to eat this way and eat a plant-based lifestyle, even if I added salt and sugar into my diet, that eventually I'm going to be a healthy weight. It might be me losing a quarter of a pound every week for the rest of my life, but eventually I would get to a healthy weight. I want to do it faster than that. That's doing it that slow doesn't really isn't what I'm wanting to do. So if I have to make some choices that help get the weight to go in the right direction, I will, but I don't want to make any choices that in the end sabotage the progress or set me back. Because that's what I found a lot with the fasting has done is it does give me short-term like, woohoo, that's awesome. I lost 10 pounds. But then for 2 weeks, I'm like, I gained 5 of that back, or I'm still only at a 10-pound loss. So overall, it doesn't give me that lasting satisfaction that I'm looking for. Gene says that you've been losing the same 2 pounds for 3 weeks now. Yeah. And it's better than gaining 2 pounds every week for 3 weeks, but, it's just finding a good routine for you. Thanks, Jane. And then Pretty Girl's mom says that I should have lots of celery this evening to help things move along. Yes. So I have to decide what I'm going to do this evening. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I'm going to see my general practitioner. I believe that I'm going to be like 80 pounds lighter than the last time I saw her. I'm not sure. I'll find out tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to be lighter than I was a year ago when I saw her last. She was very interested in what's been going on because of the water fasting that I did. That's very odd for many people. And so, and just the overall benefits. So I'll see the doctor tomorrow. I will probably get blood work done. I think I have to go in fasted to do that, which shouldn't be a problem. It'll be more getting food after the doctor's appointment. So, and so we'll see how the doctor's appointment goes tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I don't imagine, like if anything is off, it'd be my vitamin D will be down or my iodine or something will be off, but I don't think that there'll be any major issues with that appointment tomorrow. Jane says that they are 83 and they wish they had found this at my age. Yeah, I am really happy that I did find it. I feel like I stumbled into this way of eating, but if anything, it has added many years onto my life because, and I've mentioned it on this stream before, I started this 20 months ago now, and there is a chance that I would have had some sort of catastrophic event happen to me in the past year and a half had I not done something about my health. And even if I didn't have a catastrophic event, that my day-to-day just overall well-being would not be as good as it is now. And the idea of reaching 83 years old, while it was a fond idea in my head, I don't know that it was ever a reality. And now that I'm eating this way, I really feel like that it's definitely a reality. And I'm going to be happy to be that age. There's not a lot of 500-pound, 80-year-old guys walking around. Well, definitely probably not walking around, probably being rolled around. So I'm glad that I figured this out relatively early in the overall grand scheme of things as well. Shai says my doctor's going to be impressed. I hope so. So I'm going to put a bunch of food in my belly tonight and then fast in the morning. I might just fast through to the weigh-in. Hopefully I don't see too big of a gain. I don't know what's going to happen with the scale. I hate it some days, right? No, I don't. I really don't worry about it too much overall. I just wish that it was always trending down, but then that wouldn't be exciting to see at all. That would just be boring. See John succeed at weight loss. That's not very fun. Let's watch him flounder for a while. Anyways, I am going to get out of here today. I will be doing my weigh-in tomorrow. I think that my schedule for the rest of the week is normal, that I'll be live the rest of the week. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to my channel. Click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up. There's no holiday. There's no event that's coming up that's more important than your overall health and well-being. Start making the choice now to become healthier, because nobody ever gets to their goals and looks back and says they wish they would have waited. I'm the same way. I wish I would have started way sooner I wish I would have started 20 years ago. If I'd have known about this way of eating 20 years ago, how much better off I'd be today. And don't fall for the two myths of moderation. The myth of moderate change, the idea that you can make slow changes and eventually you'll switch to this utopian diet that you have planned out. If your goal is to just go to that diet anyways, then there's no reason to drag it out. Just give the diet the best chance you can give it. Go all in and make those big changes. Because if you want to see big changes, you have to make big changes. Also, don't fall for the myth of moderate consumption. The idea that a little bit of something unhealthy is okay for you. Just a little bit of that drug isn't going to hurt you is a myth. The idea that we can still have this junk food in our diet and we can continue to resist that temptation for the long haul is a myth. The idea that you can eat half portions of food and you can still be satisfied is a myth. Your body will catch up to you. It will get you in a position where you find an excuse to binge, and you will binge, and it will be on awful food that is not good for you. So don't fall for the two myths of moderation. You guys all have a wonderful evening. I will check in tomorrow, and it will be weigh-in Wednesday. So I will talk to you guys later.